Hi, everybody. It's a beautiful spring day here in Georgia, and I just thought it was about time for another chat with Charlie. Today, I want to talk about one of my greatest teachers and what can be one of your greatest teachers, and that's failure. Um, a lot of people want to avoid failing. They feel like it's something bad, when quite the opposite. My human teacher, my actual jujitsu instructor, David Ernest, taught me early on that if you want to get better at something, get your ass kicked by people better than you. And I found that to be the truth in everything. Regardless whether you're training for athletics, or if you're a first responder, or a soldier, or a martial artist, or a bouncer, or a stuntman, um, failure is going to teach you more than success. You learn nothing when you succeed without effort. But get your ass handed to you, you learn very important lessons. At the very least, what not to do. But at the best, how to do what you do better. Um, we live in a society right now that's handing out participation trophies and trying not to hurt people's feelings. But in order to get good at something, you have to fail. Riding horses, you get taught lessons in humility all the time. First time you come off a horse, you learn a lesson about how to stay on. Fighting, same way. Of course, in fighting, you want to fail someplace safe, like a martial arts school. Fail among friends. And I've been hit harder by some of my best friends than I've ever been hit in a real fight. And those are the lessons that stick. I guarantee you, you get hit the first time, you learn a lot about blocking, a lot about movement. Um, you know, General Douglas MacArthur had a great quote. He said, "On the fields of friendly strife are sown the seeds that on other days, on other battlefields, shall bear the fruits of victory." Which I always took to mean, you know, the same concept of the more you sweat in practice, the less you bleed in combat. The more you push yourself in the field of training, the better you'll be when that training becomes necessary to a situation. If you are helping train someone or being trained by someone, if you're being trained by someone and they're not pushing you to the point of failure, then they're doing you a disservice. If they're not pushing your training paradigm, your techniques, your strategies to the point where they no longer work, then you're getting too little out of the training. And if you're not pushing your training partners to the point where they fail, you're doing them a great disservice too. Until you know where a technique fails, you have no idea how useful it's actually going to be. You've got to push things to the point where they break so that you know the parameters of where they work. The first time a technique fails you, you don't want it to be in combat. The first time, think about it, climbing equipment. They stress test climbing equipment all the time before they put a human in it. They want to know at what point that equipment's going to break. So why shouldn't it be the same for, combat training or athletic training or any kind of training? Push it to the point where it breaks, so you know exactly where that is. And sometimes you see it break, and that's where you find another way to do it, so that you can push those limits further. But until you know them, it's all going to be a mystery. And again, you don't want to find out when it's life or death. So that's what I wanted to say today. Instead of avoiding failure, you should seek it out, reach for it, find it, celebrate it, because it's going to make you better. Failure is what forges you. It's what sharpens you, what grinds off the rough edges and makes you true. It can be beautiful. To quote Theodore Roosevelt, one of my favorite quotes, which he gave in a speech at the Sorbonne in 1910, "It's not the critic who counts, it's It's not the man who points out where the strong man stumbled or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred with sweat and dust and blood, who strives valiantly and errs and falls short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who actually strives to do the deeds, who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, and spends himself in a worthy cause, who, if he wins, knows the triumph of high achievement, but if he loses, he only does so while daring greatly, so that his place will never be with those cold and timid souls who know neither victory nor defeat. So there it is. Go out, dare greatly, err, fall short again and again. Like the Japanese say, fall down 7 times, stand up 8. Every time you stand up a stronger version of you. That's what I want for you. All right, love y'all. Have a great day.